This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Hey everyone, the CityCast Boise team will be at the Boise Farmers Market this Saturday. Stop by our booth to say hi, pick up some merch, and share your thoughts on what's working and what could be better about our city. We hope to see you there. Today on CityCast Boise, there's an art to navigating the Boise Farmers Market, and we're letting you in on the secrets. From pre-order hacks to why you're not going to want to skip the lines and the most popular items that you need to grab before they sell out, we're exploring what this beloved weekly ritual reveals about our city's changing identity. It's Tuesday, June 10th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. I'm thrilled to welcome Amber Byerly, Executive Director of the Boise Farmers Market. Hey, Amber.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Of course. Wouldn't miss it.
It feels like we're already pretty deep into farmers market season, and I know you've got savvy tricks for making the most of it. But before we get into that, can you tell us about your In Love with Local video series and how it came to be?
Yeah, we're really excited about this. It was a grant from the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. It's actually their farmers market promotion program. So the sole purpose of that grant is to make sure that farmers markets are being promoted, that everyone sees the value in those. And of course, the end result, the more important part, is that our farmers and ranchers have more income that's coming in as a result, because people will know the important reasons why you should shop the market. And that's exactly what we're doing. So our farmers really are doing best practices, sustainable practices. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And then we're just going to talk about the food itself, the health, the nutrient dense, because usually what's happening, you're not going in between, it's not taking weeks or months for food to get to you. It's being taken from the ground to the market. And we're kind of explaining that process a little better.
The one about the drive-through actually caught my attention. And I feel like that might be one of the best kept secrets at the Boise's Farmers Market. Can you walk us through how it works and maybe why more people should be taking advantage of it?
Yeah, talk about tips and tricks. It's a great way because what happens is we love that we're a product of our popularity right now, right? But what that means for some folks is maybe a little bit more anxiety about going to the market. It is a product of the pandemic. And so they did this amazing thing with, your grocery store was in a parking lot on Saturdays, really safe, and people could go through. And there was a decision that was made that we should keep that, because what we saw was elderly people. We saw people maybe who had anxiety about going to a market with thousands of their friends and neighbors and everything. And it's that access point. And so the drive-through, the way it works is you make your orders on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You have that window of time to go through. We usually have between 40 and 50 vendors that you can choose from. And then you literally go and pick it up on Saturday. Well, I will mention that, of course, when berry season hits and you see those amazingly long lines, again, great for business, great for our local farmers and ranchers. But those berries, you can be in line for quite a while. And if you do it through the drive-through, you skip all that. Our drive-through volunteers are just awesome, wonderful people who saw the value. And sometimes some of those folks that are coming through, they don't get to see a lot of people often. So it's a great additional community as well. So convenience, access, something that we're really committed to make sure that the farmers market truly is for everyone.
Well, and like you said, sometimes I go to the farmers market because I want to wander and talk to people and, just really see the sights. And sometimes it's like, I really got to get my fresh produce, but I'm so busy, or I just don't feel like wrangling my kids. And so it is just, I think it is potentially so great for so many parts of our community. But sometimes I do want to go just to go talk to people and see the sights. And, I really like talking to the farmers or the people who are growing or making what I'm buying. And so what kind of insider tips or deals have you found that you can get by maybe talking to the vendors or really interacting with them?
Well, I think you really hit it on the head. One of the biggest differences between the farmer's market and a grocery store, you can get healthy food at the grocery store. We're not here to tell you that it's the only option for food. I would argue it's the best option for food because you can literally ask the grower who was out there, made the decisions about what to put to seed, what to grow that year. That's really has that deep connection to the food and cares that it gets to you because number one, it behooves them, but they also all really believe in what they're doing. So honestly, one of the tricks, just talk to them about like the best ways to make that food, why they chose that, the seasonality of food, those conversations, I think, and the deeper connections that you can build, it's then your relationship to food and it's your relationship to your community as well. What's really fun is we do our best to keep vendors all in the same area. So then they become neighbors and thus then the people around them, you've got say a Molly's Mills that's right next to, Purple Sage or, someone who's got lamb and it's like, oh, I can just go across there for this part. And, that's a really big aspect of that is to really have those conversations. The biggest thing I can ever say is arrive early. You're going to get the freshest produce and you're going to beat the heat and everything as well.
Okay, going off of that, the market starts at 9 a.m. So going early, that means, be there maybe right at 9 and it goes until 1 p.m. So I think you might have already let us know, but do you think getting there right away is the best option? Are there big differences between showing up first thing and getting there closer to the end of market?
Yeah, we obviously have an abundance mindset and there is an abundance of food. So whether you come at 9 a.m. or, 12:30, you're probably going to get what you want. That being said, things like berries, things like where there aren't quite as many of those, if you're not arriving early, you're simply not going to have access to those things. And I think the most compelling reasons, obviously, in the middle of the summer, but also there's just it's that sweet spot of time where you can have those conversations as well. And if you can, the lines aren't too long and you beat the heat and have those sorts of conversations going on as well. And honestly, the lines are kind of fun because you start to learn your neighbors as well too. So if you're sitting in line for strawberries and they're talking recipes and talking things that they're going to do with it. So not just the relationships between the vendors, but also the relationships our shoppers end up having as well too. So yeah, arrive early. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. I always, we have tons of bike parking and watching people bike in. That's so awesome where it's like peruse for a second, kind of go around because the vendors are all getting set up. They're all ready usually by about 8:30. And it's a great time to kind of really game plan where you're going to go.
Okay, Amber, I have to ask, and please be honest, is there a vendor that you secretly beeline for before anyone else gets there?
Well, of course not. Yes, of course there is. Unfortunately for me, long term, it's cheese will always be the ones, and Ballard cheese is my favorite. That grilling cheese. Oh my gosh,
it is so good. There is nothing like that.
And they do the samples because they're just not evil, but kind of because why would you ever say no to cheese? So, and of course Ballard, they usually stop coming around like July or August. So I got to make sure I get all the cheese I can. So that's my guilty one. And then my wife loves the alternative flour, has this amazing cinnamon roll. And of course, it's gluten-free. She's celiac friendly on most of her products as well. So that's something. Those cinnamon rolls go pretty quick.
I can't blame you at all for having a few favorites in the bunch. I know whenever we bring home grilling cheese, my children go feral. Like I've never. It doesn't matter. We brought home lots of different like treats and snacks, and grilling cheese, like absolutely, they just love it. That's absolutely one of their favorites.
Reigns supreme.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino. A meal isn't just about what's on your plate. It's about what you bring to the table. San Pellegrino believes the table is where the best of life happens. That's what makes gathering around it so rich and rewarding. And with their unique sparkling natural mineral water, San Pellegrino brings its best so you could bring yours.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit temptationstreats.com to learn more.
Amber, I'm really curious to get your perspective on this, but how do you feel like the market has changed, maybe even in the last few years since the pandemic started, in terms of who's coming to the farmers market, what's being sold, or how are people shopping? Are there any trends you've noticed?
Oh, tons. So the trends that we were seeing is absolutely exponential growth. Even from the pre-pandemic, it was always trending better. That move was a little tough when we came from downtown. Anytime there's change in that way. But everybody, the diehards followed us. And then, of course, COVID hit. And I think what people appreciated was that pivot, was the creativity of our board and the former director. Give tons of credit to Tamara Cameron, who just said, hey, how can we create these access points to make sure that people always have it? And there's not a reason that they don't have access to fresh local food. And then since then, in my tenure, I'm now in my third year. Yeah, it's just up, up, up. And of course, that's growth in the valley. That's the amazing things. City of Boise is one of our partners, and just wonderful things that the city's done to welcome folks in. And because people are, once they move here, are searching for community, and there's no better place than the farmers market to get that. What we're seeing is a lot of newer people, maybe not as savvy in everything that a local market can offer. It might be like, what do I do on Saturday? Oh, I'll go down here. And that's okay, because that's our job then to say, through, say, the video series that we have, to educate people about what we do offer and once you're there, this is where you can do the majority of your shopping. Your money stays local. And, what we find with people moving here is that's what they appreciate about Idaho, or Boise in particular, is, I want it to be about community. I don't want it to be about, bigger and better and all these things. We are the better because we're local. That's what we do well. And so we're gonna stay true to those values and keep that growing in that way. So yeah, exponential growth. We're averaging between 5,500 and 6,000 people a week this year, which is just phenomenal. Yeah, that's a lot of people coming through. And another reason why it's good to arrive early.
I was going to say, that's stiff competition to get those berries.
But yeah, and so what we're noticing is it's the layered approach, where there's the people that know how to do everything. They know the tips and the tricks. And then the people that are trying to figure out what to do next. And then the people that were really convincing, they're like, wait a minute, I can get this for $2 cheaper, at Winco. Nothing wrong with that. If you're only focused on the economics of it, but if you really start to break the economics down of how much longer that food lasts, I have a bag of salad in here from Fiddler's Green that I've had for 3 weeks, and it's not even remotely close to going bad, and it's happened to be that I was putting stuff away and forgot it was back there. And then I had a nice fresh salad, 3 weeks later. And that's impossible at the grocery store. So that's just not going to happen. And that is the value. You're not throwing away food as often. It's fresh. It stays in our local economy. And if anything were to happen, we don't want it to, of course, but the pandemic demonstrated how that food scarcity can happen when it's coming from 2,000 miles away instead of 20 miles away. So that's why we're here. That's why farmers markets are awesome. And, it's really great to brag about it.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you touched on that, because I was going to ask, literally only one of the only critiques I ever hear about farmers markets, because what are you going to complain about at a farmers market, is that it seems like it's more expensive than shopping at the grocery store. So what are your tips, or your best tips maybe for shopping smart, or stretching your budget, or maybe reframing how you think about that?
Yeah, again, I think the reframe, a lot of it is in what I talked about, with just the value of extending that life. So that food hasn't been on the truck for 2 weeks, or hasn't been it's been picked within the last couple of days rather than within the last couple of months. And I think so there's that, and we are showing and demonstrating that it's more nutrient dense. You're actually getting more of out of those, veggies and fruits that are coming to you. So I think, that's the big thing. And then for those who say they really, want to support local, or, they say they support farmers and all those things, your dollar is going to the farmer. It's going directly to them. It's not going to the grocery store, who then has to pay for the delivery that it came for however long, and all the middle people. That interaction is between you and the person who grew your food, not between you and the person who negotiated 3 different other deals to get that food to you. And I would say that is an investment. It's an investment in what we hold dear, and here in Idaho and here in Boise. So those are the biggest reasons, which there's many, many more that people can articulate better than me.
I was going to say, those are really thorough. I'm always just like, have you had an heirloom tomato, like right off the vine? I would pay any amount of money for that. Like, right. It's worth it. And whatever they're charging, it's worth it.
How do you explain? I mean, really, literally all you can do is like, okay, here's a tomato from Winco. Here's a tomato that I got at the farmer's market. Eat them.
Exactly.
Half the time, that's all you have to do. So
you're about to experience joy for the first time. Eat this tomato.
Right. Exactly. Juicy, juicy goodness. So,
well, and Amber, something that I think people maybe don't know about is that they can use their SNAP benefits at the farmer's market too. How does that process work, and what kind of produce and products can they use their SNAP benefits to get?
Yeah, the SNAP program is run through our information booth. So folks come to our information booth. We actually give them SNAP tokens to then use at any of the vendors. They'll also get double up food bucks. Now, the double up food bucks can be used for fruits, veggies, and then fruit and vegetable bearing plants. So that is the added thing that we fundraise for. We get grants, again, from the city, from the Idaho Farmers Market Association, and different avenues that we fundraise as well. So that, again, it's that access point. We want to make sure that it's not a financial barrier, especially for those who are most vulnerable. We hope that program continues to get supported. We'll always make sure that we have some program to supplement that as well. But that's the great thing, is like, it's going to amazing, good products that are good for people.
Well, and with those double up bucks, I had no idea that you could get plants. So not only can they get like produce, but they can get plants to grow their own food.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, it is the fruit and vegetable bearing plants, but that's, an amazing thing. So you can have your own tomatoes out here. You can see for yourself how it works. And something that's will be a continued. We actually hope to grow that program. So we're working on a few things behind the scenes so that it's, maybe if some of those SNAP and EBT benefits get taken away, that we can up that. So we're actively trying to do that to make sure, again, access also means just people literally being able to afford the food as well.
This is kind of a throwback to my past a little bit, but once my kids were out of the stroller stage, the farmer's market can start to feel like this never-ending game of tag. So what are some ways that the Boise Farmers Market helps make it a family-friendly outing, even with high-energy little shoppers in tow?
Well, the good news is we have the Sprouts Kids Club. Anybody can do it. Any age can do it. But between the ages of 5 and 12, if they complete the activities with us, which are, educational about the environment, just farming practices, also just learning how to shop a market, learning what things. We did a tasting of herbs. So the kiddos, if they complete that activity, they'll get $2 in tokens that they can spend. So it makes it a little bit more compelling for them to be like, I want to buy carrots, or I want to buy this, and a lot of the kids, actually, it's hilarious because we have to tell them, okay, you got to bring them in now, because they'll hoard those so that they can get up to the amount that they, like, I want a pound of carrots. So, I got to bring more of my tokens, and I got to collect those. It's literally teaching them how to shop, but also like, what do I shop for? This is what tastes good to me. We do taste testings. We also, we do seeds and stuff so they can grow things as well. And so that's a great thing. And then also, like, those kiddos get to have those interactions with the farmers too. And they kind of, that's the nice thing about some of our farmers is like, hey, taste this. What do you think? Or take one of these, And a lot of people are really great with kids in that way. But yeah, come down to do the activities that's there, and also things like our different sweet treats and stuff that they can eat along the way. I saw kids just like gnaw on a baguette, which was like so farmers market, like, okay, get into it, so we can get through the market.
I'm gonna say, we've been there. Fill them up with pastries and lemonade, and
Exactly.
I didn't know they could get those tokens though. Amber, are you telling me I might have to battle for berries with a third grader?
You might, especially if they beat you to the punch with their, bag of Sprouts
their
tokens
hoard
that
of
they're bringing
tokens.
it to. Yeah, it's true.
This episode is brought to you by Tic Tac. Summer tastes like Tic Tac. Tantalize your taste buds this sunny season with citrus adventure and orange. 2 everyday flavors that bring summer in every. Tic Tac Citrus Adventure is a yummy, vibrant medley of lemon, lime, and mandarin. And Tic Tac Orange is the perfect mix of tangy and sweet. Visit us at Tic Tac USA on social to refresh your summer with Tic Tac.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
Amber, what do you think the Boise Farmers Market says about who we are as a city? And what does it reflect about our values and priorities and how we want to live?
Yeah, I mean, I look at the partnerships we have with the city itself, and then just our relationship with the Idaho Botanical Garden, the City of Good, organizations like Rolling Tomato, even the Treasure Valley Food Canopy Network. Like, that to me is Boise. It's networking. It's these things where we know the things we do really well, and we have these organizations that do those things really well. And then those ones that are adjacent, those ones that just make sense in a friendship, in a partnership, we make that concerted effort to do that. And the amazing thing about the Boise Farmers Market is there's so many avenues in. So it's recreating that magic every single time, so you get that feeling and you get all warm and fuzzy thinking you're going to meet new people or that you're going to see the same old faces. And I think that's what a farmer's market can do. And you can't replicate that in a grocery store. You just can't. And there's wonderful people. But, if we can really invest more in our community and uplift those values that we're talking about, whether it be that, we all care about the environment, however that looks, and it crosses political barriers. I always say food is a great unifier. If you're from the left, you're from the right, you have to go get food. And this is a place where you can come and we can all agree, this is a great onion. This is a great strawberry, whatever it might be. And we can be unified in those things. And so I get a little like touchy feeling and sensitive about it, because these are ways in which we can come together as a community and it doesn't pull us apart.
And the farmers market is currently located at 1500 Shoreline Drive. But as you mentioned, you've got the relationship with the Idaho Botanical Gardens, and there's a big move coming up, right?
Yeah. Our intention is to move to the Idaho Botanical Gardens in coming seasons, and there's a lot of things that have to happen. And Aaron Anderson and everybody at the Botanical Gardens is great as they're doing their master plan. But we became part of that plan, which is great. Of course, as a botanical gardens, they are also a gathering place to come together to see the value of plants, the environment, education, all of those things. And so that is the plan. Yes, to move out there, hopefully within the next couple of years. We'll see just how that all comes together, but that is the intent.
Well, Amber, thank you so much. Thank you for coming onto the show and giving us a little look behind the curtain of how all the farmers market gets pulled together, and we get to go and enjoy our heirloom tomatoes and grilling cheese and our neighbors every week.
That's right. Yeah, we're always happy to show you a little bit behind the booth, for sure.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. Remember, I'll be at the Boise Farmers Market this Saturday. Hope to see you there. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a look at how local college grads are navigating this tricky job market. Catch you then.